Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Now from mid-November through to mid-January, I believe this is an annual experience, the Fleet Street Quarter in London, based around the historic Fleet Street area, historically known for where the press were based, not so much now, have an art installation of statues, and this is dotted around the area to help you explore, find these, and it's just an activity over the festive period, but also to explore this really historic area of London. And it's one which I have up to now have not been familiar with. I've walked past this many times on the main streets, been to the St Paul's area many times, Millennium Bridge just round the corner, but never explored the back streets and passageways. This year, this trail was a little bit special in that it was a Snoopy Trail. This was in collaboration with Peanuts, celebrating 75 years of the comic strip. The video you're going to see is actually a culmination of two trips to do this. The first one was with my friend Clive from Photographic Club. We went on a Friday before the Christmas holidays, so it was a bit quieter. However, the way that Fibro was impacting me, although I could sort of do the walking and take in as much as I can and do some photography, I couldn't get my brain in the space to think about video somehow. So I just did the photography, knowing that actually my wife, who has been a fan, lifelong fan of Peanuts and Snoopy and Charlie Brown, she wanted to go when she was off work between Christmas and New Year. Yeah, I did it twice with Fibro. One of the thoughts in my mind, and my brain does go into overdrive when you've got this sort of one-off experience where you want to go and capture as much as you can. How am I going to do it? And this is where too many lenses can mess with your head. So the first trip, I decided to go with my 18 to 55 lens for a number of reasons. It is wider, although on my crop sensor that is about 29mm, 30mm at 18. That is really good for shooting from the hip when I'm doing street photography, etc. I don't have to stop and I can just, I've done a lot of shoot from the hip with this and I really like it. I'm familiar with what it will do and how wide the shot is. But also in terms of photographing the Snoopy installations, they'd all been decorated by individual artists, and they're all different except for the actual format of the statue. The artwork on it was all individual and different, and each location was different. There was a couple of 100 yards between each one. So I decided, I should say, to capture them in context. So by using this lens with a wider range than I would have, a wider brain fog is kicking in. Yeah, with a wider field of view than I would have had if I was just using my lighter 50mm lens. This gave me just what I needed, to be honest, for the whole day. So that was day one, and you'll see those. They'll be obvious in the video. For day two, now having experienced that and knowing how I would need to cope with it with my Fibro, day two actually gave me an opportunity for two ways of looking at this. Firstly, get some footage that I failed to get because of my condition on day one. So I was able to do some sweeping shots showing you the buildings and down to Snoopy and then what else was around and put it in context in that way. So I am very grateful that I went twice. The other way was with my photography, because the straightforward images with the 18mm, very nice. I'm really pleased with those images. And it was quieter in terms of people because we were walking while others were at work and at school. But I thought about actually if I could get some still shots much wider of people experiencing, because I knew that it would probably be busier. I didn't know how busy. And when we got to some of the statues, yes, you were queuing to get to see them. and kids were rushing in, etc. And you allow that because it's their excitement. You want to see people enjoying this, so you just bide your time. But I thought with this, I can capture it in context like I can do on the video, but as a still image. Some people will frown at the curves of the buildings and the overall look and feel of this, but it's what I have in my arsenal. I have been thinking about, should I swap it out for a 10 to 22, finances allowing, but it's what I've got. I like it, and I do like, as I've said in other videos, I think that curve gives you a feel of how it feels to be you in that environment with these buildings or trees, whatever it might be above you. So that's what I shot with on day 2. So there's a selection of those images for each location in this video. Now, one thing I will say is that this is the second time we've done a trail like this. We did one many years ago in Norwich when we were visiting my parents. Somebody had bought us a history trail for walking around Norwich that we could do with our son when he was much younger. So it was a great family day out, and it was a great way to see the area and see the history of the place. This Snoopy Trail was no exception. So if you have these sorts of trails where you are or nearby, I would highly recommend doing them. Even if you're not interested in the installations, use them as a way of seeing that area, just exploring, taking your time, taking in the buildings. Now, this area of London, the Fleet Street Quarter, is an exceptional area. There is so much history in this area, and one, as I've said, that I wasn't familiar with. So if you want to go out and practice some photography or see an area you've not seen before, go out and use these as an experience. Don't rush from installation to installation. Use it to see what is around you. And I think that's where being a photographer comes in with my friend, but also with my wife, because she's very interested in history. Now with my friend, it's a photographic perspective. Oh my God, look at what we're seeing. How can I capture this? With my wife, we're looking at the buildings. We're looking at the history on our phones. We're reading the history if it's written on the buildings. In particular, one in Fleet Street, which was rebuilt in 1667 after the Great Fire, and has a list of all the monarchs, including Charles III, now that it's survived. So use this as a way, and if you want to get into photography, use it as a way. Just take pictures on your phone, take some video, use it as an opportunity to capture those moments and create a record of that. And that's what my photography here is. You might like the look and the feel, the way I've processed it, giving it a little bit of a softer look and feel, but also, they're a record. They're nothing more than that, a record of that time. They're images I'm very pleased with. You can see the one on my screen here. I'm happy with those. It's a great record, and I'm happy that I can capture them in a way and be creative with that within the context of the experience. Does that make sense? I don't know. My brain I'm really struggling today, which is why I keep looking at my notes down here. Also, in this video, it's not just the Snoopy images. So if you're not into Snoopy, don't switch off now. Obviously, as we were walking around, I was looking and trying to capture some of the history as we went round. I did more of that on day 2 with the fisheye lens. And there are in particular some shots that I'm going to do some voiceover for in this video. So, keep watching and I'll explain those as we go through. So it's a record of the Snoopy Trail. It's a record of as much as I could do of the area. house in the top left of this image belonged to Dr. Samuel Johnson, where he lived between 1748 to 1759 and wrote a dictionary of the English language. Now, on the first trip to Holborn Viaduct, we took a slight wrong turn and ended up doing the last few Snoopy installations out of order. So we ended up beneath the viaduct shooting up at it, and I couldn't quite get a shot that I was happy with. We were both having a try and I really couldn't get an angle or a shot that I was pleased with. However, on returning for the second trip with my wife, learning from my first experience, we did take the right turn and ended up going along Holborn Viaduct and ended up on top of the bridge. And this is where the fisheye lens for me really paid off. And this is my favourite image from a street photography point of view from the day, day 2, where you can see the road that we're on across the bridge and also the road running beneath the viaduct. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done already, please subscribe to the channel and share this video or any others on my channel with people you think would be interested. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next video.